Hosting a fundraising event. I'm really excited to talk to you about the joy of producing a fundraising event in your community. And some of the side benefits that are in it for you are, one, it's inspiring to do a fundraising event and bring your community together. And secondly, it can be a really fabulous, like, bringing your team together to produce something is much exciting for you as it is for the guests. It's also when people experience learning about the Peace Alliance and the work that we're doing to establish a culture of peace, when they hear about it in a group venue, there's sort of a collective electricity that is moving and motivating. And it also allows you to actually not have to go see all of your friends one-to-one and close the gift, but to actually, and some people find it much easier to invite people to come to the event. We have an entire manual on how to put on a fundraising event online, and it has a lot of different things in it. I can't remember how many pages, but it's over 10. And it has, there are a couple of things in there that I think I want to point you to that are extremely useful. The first one is there is a timeline, and it literally is what we call backwards timeline, meaning like the first thing you do and the second thing is sort of like backing you into the event. So that the beauty of it is that you won't have to ask yourself, am I forgetting something important? Because it's all been kind of thought out, and this manual's been used quite a bit and edited and improved. So if you read that through and you say, nope, we decided not to do that, or yep, done that, if you go through that list and you kind of go through it in that order, you will actually be able to get everything done and not be worrying that you're forgetting something critical to making a successful event. There are two what I'm going to call most importance, and people when they're thinking of events usually like to concentrate on the program, who's going to speak and how, and the program is important. But even before you have a program, the most important thing is to establish a team of people who are creating this together. Because at certain times you'll be really excited and really motivated, and then maybe you asked 3 people and they all said no, now you're really down. The thing about the team is that you have a stable team driving this project forward week by week. So the first step, as it says in the manual, is that a host makes a commitment to an event. And that we would hope that that might even be more than one person. But one person can, and the first job is to build a small core team to make this happen. So that team, and I highly recommend, and it's in the manual as well, that you set all the meetings between now and the debrief after the event into your calendars as soon as you've committed to the event and set a date. The other thing that is in there, in addition to those, is then the thing that's so important is actually how people are invited. And I go and do and speak at lots of fundraising events, and I've done it for lots of different people. And I have learned this so hard to give it away because people don't really take this, but it's true. The most important thing that shapes how much and whether people give happens in the invitation. Happens in the invitation. And so, people say, why, that event raised so much money, you were so great. It's like I gave this dang speech on that other event that didn't raise much money, and it had to do with the way people were invited. And so there is some sample scripts in there, but the main thing is that you want people to be seriously thinking in a range. So it's good to, as your team, to actually have everybody create their invite list and get together and practice doing the invite calls and actually practice with each other. And so you're going to be telling people, and since monthly sponsors, meaning our peace partners, is the thing we want most, people who are willing to give monthly, that's what's going to give us the foundation to really build this movement. So if you would tell people that, part of our goal is we're really trying to raise monthly contributors. Is that something you'd be willing to consider? Now again, with the words consider, you're not asking them to commit to it now. Is that something that they'd be willing to consider? Because I'm not going to have you make your gift now with me over the phone. I'm asking you to come to the event and make a decision at the event. But I'm wondering if you'd be willing to come to the event open to the idea of becoming a monthly contributor. It can be from any range from $10 a month to $1,000 a month. And we're asking people to consider between $50 and $100. But, you know, is that something you would be comfortable being open to? I'm not, you know, you may come and not like it, but I just want to know, are you willing to look in that range? And so giving people these kinds of range questions and also asking them if they'd be willing to consider something in that range, what that actually does is sort of set up how they're going to think about the event when they're there. And if you don't do that, the likelihood that they'll make what they usually, you know, like you could bring them to an event and they would give, you know, $10, $20, $50. Where if they were asked to be giving $20 to $50 monthly, they might very well sign up for $20 monthly. And if they're taken care of, that can run into several years over time. So that's something very critical to take into account. And the last thing I'm just going to say about the event, it's almost going to unsay everything I've previously said. Create a program that really inspires you. This is a chance to give people a profound experience of what's possible. And I would recommend that you rehearse. I would recommend that you get maybe a peace builder from your local community and have them be a speaker, and you kind of set that up. Sometimes slideshows are good. Music can be great. And you definitely want someone who's going to get up and do an actual ask, so it's not left to chance. And a couple of the things, regardless of the size of the event, and the manual actually lays it out that if you're doing a big event with 200 people, then you want something like 8 months to plan it. If you're doing an event in your home with between 15 or 20 people, you could do that in a few weeks. So that it's sort of flexible and stretchy, and you can kind of, the size of your event and the amount of prep work is all kind of laid out in there. But what is really important is that you realize that producing these events is part of creating the political will for peace. Even if they say no, they're going to remember it. And in the conversations with them about talking to them about it, you're going to be working to inspire them about the possibility of living in a peaceful culture and how we could actually move in that direction. And so your effort, regardless of whether people say yes or no, whether they come or don't, your effort is actually part of the work. We're working to build a constituency for peace. So some of them will say no because they've discouraged, or they're feeling hopeless, or they're feeling, you know, disillusioned about things. And they may need to say no 3 or 4 or 5 times before they actually go, oh, all right, I'll come. You know, and they may have to attend 3 things before they actually put their money behind it. But the process is that you're actually awakening or reawakening the hopeful, compassionate part of their nature, and giving them the opportunity to make it a reality with their money and their time. So it's a really beautiful thing to do events, and when you can create that mood at the event, people feel part of community, which is something that we're longing for and is a pillar of what allows peace to emerge, is community. So I want to thank you for being willing to take on doing an event. We have a coaching structure for events, and so if your group is putting on an event and you want to be part of that, and I talk to people who are putting on events every 2 weeks just to see how they're going, make suggestions, give them empathy, celebrate what they're doing. And so do reach out and get a coach. If I either call me and I'll either be the coach or arrange someone who has successfully done this to be your coach, so that you really don't have to make a lot of mistakes other people have made.